Let's see. Okay, we have Zion Dalit. One who pulls out symptoms of tumor and one who pulls out who burns a patch of living skin transgresses a prohibition. And concerning Tahara, as long as he had not come to the Kohen, he is Tahor. After the confirmation, he is Tomei. Rabbi Akiva said, Ayeshua Gamil and Yeshua on the way to Gedvad, if you remove the negative symptoms in the middle of its confinement, what law applies to him? They said to me, we do not hear. Well, we did not hear. We did hear. As long as he had not come to the Kohen, his Tahor, after his confirmation, his Tameh. I began bringing them proofs that whether he was standing before the Kohen or was in the middle of the confinement, when he destroyed the Tameh symptoms, he's Tahor, unless he destroyed the Tameh symptoms after the Kohen to put him Tameh. From when does he become Tahor? Rabbi Eliezer says when another nega appears and becomes Tahor from it. The sages say until he covers completely or until his Baharis becomes smaller than a grist. If someone had the Baharis and it was cut off and it becomes Tahor, what he cut off intentionally, the Reb Eliezer says when another nega appears and it becomes Tahor from it, the sages say until he covers it completely. If it was on the top of the tip of the foreskin, he shall circumcise anyway. That which spreads completely from a tummy becomes tahor. If the extremities return to normal appearance, he becomes tummy until his baharis become smaller than a grist. That which spreads completely from a tahor becomes tummy, and the extensions return to normal appearance. He remains tummy until his baharis returns to the way he was.
Okay.
I want to take a minute while you start talking.
Okay. Have a drink.
I've read two already. Didn't help. Okay. Good. Already.
Try sucking on cough sweet or something. Or Ricolas are very good.
One of those. What are they called?
Ricola.
Strepsils or something like
Strepsils, yeah. Okay. Baharis Kagris. You got the minimum size of Baharis, Uba Michya Kadasha, and you have the minimum size of Michya, of healthy skin in the middle to confirm it. Okay, so this is now being confirmed and as a proper as a Tame Nega. Parcha Bekulo, and then it spread all over him. And then after that, the Michya disappeared. So now he is completely white, okay? Or it could be the other way. Or shehalchala michya, or the michya first disappeared, but before the Kohen could pronounce it tahor. And then it spread all over him, tahor. So he's in both of these cases, he is considered tahor. Nodalo michya, as soon as he gets some healthy skin again on from being 100% white, nolad lo seya lavan. As soon as he gets healthy skin again, it's pronounced tame. Nolad lo ser lavan, and if he gets a white hair in it, so he's completely white, and now he gets a white hair. So now, interestingly, Rabbi Yeshua says this is now tame. Why? He says just like the appearance of healthy skin, which is effectively a michya. As soon as you get a michya inside this, it becomes tameh. So the same thing goes with white hair. Just like a michya is a siman tumah, so is white hair a siman tumah. Chachamim matarim, they say no, that's not how this works. Halacha follows the chachamim that white hair does not make a difference when it comes to 100% spreading when it's hafach kula lavan. Okay, Mishna Gimel baheres uba ser lavan. So you've got the nega, and it's got a white hair in it, and he's been declared tameh. Parcha bekulo, and now it spreads over his entire body. Afal pisha seir lavan bimkomo tahor. And now even Rabbi Yeshua, who in the previous Mishnah said that the white hair was a siman tumah, he says if the white hair was there before and it spread all the way to his body, nonetheless he agrees that this is tahor. It's only when he was already hafach kula lavan and then white hairs appeared that Rabbi Yeshua says it's tameh. Okay, baheres or bapisyon. So there was a baheres and it spread, so he was declared tameh. Or parcha bekulo tahor, and once again this also becomes tahor once it spreads all over his body. Why are we mentioning these all? Because these are all of our simanei tumah, the michya, the white hair, and the pisayon, the spreading. And in all of these cases, from all of them, if he spreads to his entire body, then he becomes tahor. And in all of these cases, even if like his fingertips became healthy again, now he becomes tameh. If it's spread over part of his body, he's still tameh. Okay, so even if it's a massive spreading and there's just a little bit, I'm not sure why we feel the need, why the Mishnah feels the need to mention this he'll become tameh because of the spreading. Even if it spreads over the majority of him, we don't say ruba kakula. I think perhaps that's the idea of the Mishnah, why it has to mention it, because we don't say ruba kakulo. It's got to be mamish kulo. Okay, parcha bekulo tahor, and only when it reaches his entire body does it become tahor. Dalid, kol prichas roshe evarim. So any kind of spreading over here, over the edges of his limbs. So, for example, we said this is one of the things I don't think we learned together this time around. But like, let's say a person got a nega that surrounded his entire finger. So if you looked at it from the top of the finger, and you see, oh, there's nega around there, and there's healthy skin in the middle, which is the tip of his finger, you call that a mechia. No, that's not called a mechia. That's just because it's the tips of the fingers. That's not called in the middle of the nega. The nega is just a stripe around his finger. Okay, so that's not called a mechia. And when we're talking about Rosh Evarim, there were a number of places where we said like on like an earlobe or on the tip of his nose or whatever. All of these cases, it's not considered a mechia because it's a Rosh Evarim. Shiva prichasan tiaru tame k'sheyachzeru tameim. So when it spreads over them, they made the tame person tahor. Okay, when they return to the normal appearance, they become tameh. Okay, kol chaziras rosh evarim shebechazirasam timu tahor, and all any returning of the rosh evarim that when they returned, they made a tahor person tameh. Niskasu, once they become covered again, then it becomes tahor. So once again, he's 100% covered. He now becomes tahor again. Niskalu tameh afilu mea pamim. So it doesn't matter how many times this process happens of the person who parcha kulo lavan, and one of his fingers becomes healthy again, and then he becomes tameh. Then it becomes white again. It becomes tahor. So that can happen 100 times, and it'll keep happening. Why do we talk about the Rosh Evarim specifically? I'm just trying to think why we speak specifically here about the Rosh Evarim. Why does it have to be fingertips? Why not just any piece of stem flesh? We said the difference between them is that the Rosh Evarim are not considered a michya. Okay, so we said that if you had a regular nega, let's say if you had a regular nega on his arm and there was a michya in the middle, and that was pronounced tameh, and then it spreads over his entire body, but the michya was still in place. Now that's the question that we have. Is that considered hafach kulo lavan because it was originally because it was originally called tameh? That whole nega there was called tameh. So does the michya count against the hafach kulo lavan? Looks me michya. I think it's mashma from Mishna base that we learned today, that if that original Michya that was pronounced Tame is still there when it's spread over the rest of his body, that would not be called Hapach Kula Lavan. And so that would be on a regular nega. And I guess it's a similar thing with Rosh Evarim, but I'm not sure why Mishnah Daled is specifically talking about Rosh Evarim.
Mm.
Does Artsrel have any comment about why we're talking about Rosh Evarim?
No, I don't see anything in here about that. No, I don't see anything.
Okay.
Last.
All right, we're going to leave it.
Nega just mentioned by the Mishnah is Tame because it no longer covers the entire body, extends again onto the entire body, will become Tahor again. If they become uncovered, it is Tame even 100 times.
Yeah.
That's all it says. It doesn't say anything else.
And the commentary doesn't say anything further about why we're speaking specifically about Rosh Evarim.
No.
Because the same would be true of any piece of flesh. So I don't know why it talks about Rosh Evarim. Maybe it's just that's where it typically happens, but I don't know. Okay, later. Let's go back to Zion.
Zion. A Baharis about living skin and expansion. Subsequently, the living skin disappeared. The nega is still tummy because of expansion. If the expansion disappeared, the nega is still tummy because of the living skin. The same rule applies to white hair and to expansion. If the nega went away and returned at the end of the week, it is treated as if it remained unchanged. If the nega went away and returned afterwards declared tahor, it is examined anew. If the nega was bright and became dull, or it was dull and became bright, or it is treated as if it was remained unchanged, as long as it does not become less bright than the 4 shades. If the nega contracted and then expanded, or it expanded and then contracted, Rabbi Akiva read the Tomei and his sages read Tahor. The Baharis, the size of a gris, expanded by half a gris, but a half a gris of the original Baharis has appeared. Rabbi Akiva says it must be examined anew and the government rendered Tahor. A Baharis, the size of a gris, expanded more than a half a gris, but a half a gris of the original Baharis has appeared. Rabbi Akiva rendered the Tomei and the sages rendered the Tahor. But Baharis, the size of a gris, extended by more than a gris, but the original Baharis disappeared. Rabbi Akiva rendered the Tameh, and the sage says it must be examined anew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Olos, Yud Gimel.
Okay. Gimel. If part of the tumor is in the house and part of it is opposite the skylight, and the house becomes Tameh, and whatever is opposite the Tameh also becomes Tameh. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says the house becomes Tameh, but whatever is opposite the skylight remains Tahor. Rabbi Yossi says that the tumor is large enough that when divided in half, it can contaminate both the house and whatever is opposite the tumor, they are both Tameh. If not, the house becomes Tameh, and whatever is opposite the tumor is Tahor. If there are 2 skylights, one above the other, each of the sides of a square handbreadth, and tumor is in the house, whatever is directly opposite the skylight remains Tahor. If the tumor is directly opposite the skylights, the house remains Tahor. The tumor is either in the house or directly opposite the skylights, and an item is susceptible to tumor is placed over either the upper or the lower skylight, everything becomes Tameh. If an item not susceptible to tumor is placed over the skylight, whatever is below the item becomes Tameh, and whatever is above remains Tahor. If the skylight is smaller than a handbreadth, and the tumor is in the house, whatever is directly opposite the skylight remains Tahor. If the tumor is directly opposite the skylights, the house remains Tahor. If tumor is in the house and an item either susceptible to tumor or not is placed over the upper or lower skylight, then only the lower story becomes Tameh. If the Tameh is directly opposite the skylights, and item susceptible to tumor is placed over either the upper or the lower skylight, everything becomes Tameh. If an item not susceptible to tumor is placed either on the upper or lower skylight, only the lower entry becomes Tameh. It's doing so well.
You okay? Is your voice okay? If you want to take a break, I'll read.
I'll try, unless I'm killing your ears.
It doesn't. It's not killing my ears. It's just it sounds uncomfortable for you.
And I had to get past this. I just have to work on it.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I'm going for an Adopola today, so we'll see if that has anything to do with it.
Okay.
Regarding a pot that is placed in an oven, if a sheretz is in the oven, the pot is tahor. For an earthenware utensil does not remember the utensil is tummy. If there was in the pot that beverage sufficiently to moisten, the beverage becomes tummy and turns to tuma. Thus, this pot says that which has made you tummy did not make me tummy, and yet you have made me tummy. Regarding a chicken that was swallowed by a sheretz, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think how a chicken would swallow a sheretz.
Yes, yes, the chicken swallowed the sheretz.
Regarding a chicken that swallowed a sheretz and then fell into the airspace of an oven, the oven is starved, but the chicken died, the oven is stomach. If a sheretz was found in an oven, the bread that is in the oven becomes shani tuma, and for the oven, and a starting level of tuma, and is a starting level of tuma. Regarding a leaven container that is surrounded by a sealed cover and placed into an oven, if leaven and sheretz are in it, the dividing walls between them, the oven is stomach, but the leaven is tahor. And if there was an violent feast from the corpse, the oven and everything in the house are tummy, but the leaven is tahor. And if there's an opening of one tefach, everything is tummy. Okay. Avos. Okay, test. Rabbi Yonasan says, whoever fulfills the Torah despite poverty will ultimately fulfill it in wealth, but whoever neglects the Torah because of wealth will ultimately neglect it in poverty. Rabbi Meir says, limit your business activities, engage in Torah study, be of humble spirit before every person, and if you should neglect the study of Torah, you should be confronted with many causes of neglect, but if you labor in Torah, it has ample reward to give you. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, he who fulfills even a single mitzvah requires for himself a single advocate, while he who commits even a single transgression requires for himself a single accuser. Repentance and good deeds are like a shield against misfortune. Yochanan Hatzalah says every assembly that is dedicated for the sake of heaven will endure, but one that is not for the sake of heaven will not endure.
Okay. You've asked.
Yud Dalet.
You've based.
I'm sorry, Yud base. If a Mani Yavim cohabitated with a Mani Yavim, they must wait for each other to grow up. If it cohabitated with an adult Yavama, she must wait for him to grow up. If a Yavama stated within 30 days, he did not cohabitate with me, we coerced him to perform shakalitza with her. If she stated this after 30 days, we request of him that he perform kalitza with her. However, if he admits to it, then even after 12 months, we coerce him to perform kalitza with her. If a woman vowed not to derive benefit from a yavim, even if she vowed so during her husband's lifetime, we coerce him to perform kalitza with her. If she could vowed so after her husband's death, we could request of him to perform kalitza with her. However, if she intended this, then even if she vowed during her husband's lifetime, we only request of him to perform kalitza with her. And if a deaf mute married a competent woman, or a competent man married a deaf mute woman, if he wishes, he may divorce her, and if he wishes, he may retain her. Just as he's married by gesturing, so he may divorce by gesturing. If a competent man married a competent woman, and she became a deaf mute, if he wishes, he may divorce her, and if he wishes, she may retain her. If she became insane, he may not divorce her. If he became a deaf mute or insane, he can never divorce her. Yochanan said, why is it that a wife who became a deaf mute may be divorced? Because but a husband who became a deaf mute may not divorce. They replied, a husband who divorces is not comparable to a wife who's divorced. Since a wife may be divorced with or without consent, while a husband cannot divorce except by his consent. And we have this. Okay. A proposal may only be written for land, but if he has none, he gives him a title to part, however small, of his own field. If he has land held in a pledge in the city, a proposal may be written for it. The chutzpah says one may write for a man concerning his wife's property and for sophins concerning the garden's property. A beehive, where Earlier says, is regarded as landed property, and a proposal may be written on it, and it is not susceptible to uncleanliness while in its place, and he who takes honey from it on Sabbath is liable. But if you come and say it is not regarded as landed property, a proposal may be written on it, may not be written on it, and is susceptible to uncleanness while in place, and he who takes honey from it on Sabbath is not liable. He who repays his debt for the 7th year, he will say to him, I remit it, and if he said to him, even so, he may accept from it. Since it is written, and this is the word of release. Similarly, if a murderer went into exile to a city of refuge, and his people of the city wanted to render honor to him, he must say to them, I am a murderer. And if they said, even so, he may accept, since it is written, and this is the word of the slayer.
Of the slayer. Yeah, that's it. Okay. And tomorrow we finish and move on to Trumos.
Trumos, okay. All right, great.
Right.
All right, yeah. So what are you gonna do with all this time on your hands now?